Monday, June 26th, and this is Geeknights. Tonight we cop out and just do a tech news roundup, which means we didn't have a good topic for today.
Let's do this. So my car needs an oil change. Well, it needed an oil change.
It's needed one for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, I just, whenever I need an oil change, I never get it when I need to. It's always way late.
See, I used to not have to worry because I commuted, 8 miles every day.
That's one of the things I like about the car I got is that any oil change place will tell you 3,000 miles. But the car dealer, when I went to test drive the car, he said 7,000 miles. And then if you look in the actual book from the car, it says something like the normal maintenance schedule is 7,000 and the better maintenance schedule is 5,000. So I went 6,000. That's pretty good.
All right, so you did the one thing that wasn't listed anywhere.
Yep, exactly. But, yeah, usually I go get oil changes at Valvoline. And I had, the problem is the closest Valvoline's a little out of the way. And I didn't have time to go to it over the weekend, so I went after work today. And they didn't have filters for my car. Air filters.
I remember Ken used to run into that
oil filter, not air filter.
Because he had an Intrigue, which had a big oil pan, took a weird filter, and all sorts of fun stuff.
Yep. So I saw this other place on the road that said oil change car wash, and it looked pretty nice, but it was sort of generic. I went there anyway, and the people were nice, and the place was nice, but they kind of sucked.
Yeah, I could have warned you. I've never been to that place, but just looking at it, it gave me the vibe of no one goes there for an oil change.
Actually, it was real crowded. Like, there were a lot of people there.
That's weird.
Yeah, but they just took forever to change my goddamn oil, and they didn't even show me the dipstick after they changed the oil. I had to ask. Valvoline just comes and shows it to you whether you ask or not, and most people go, "What are you doing?" And so I was like, "Are you going to show me the dipstick so I know that you put oil in my car before I give you money? Maybe." And then they got some sort of oil on my windshield and shit, and it just wasn't good. They sucked.
Yeah, meanwhile, I don't go to Valvoline anymore either, but I found this place in the Bronx, right near one of the hospitals I work at. And not only are they cheaper than Valvoline by $8 or $9, and not only are they fast and awesome and real quick and all that, but I get a discount because I work at the hospital.
Yeah, there really just isn't a place anywhere near me to go do that. Nowhere.
Well, you could drive up to the Valvoline.
Yeah, that's the closest place, and I went there, and they didn't.
There's a Valvoline right across the river in Newburgh, right?
Yeah, but that's not on my way home. That's out of my way.
It's a lot closer than driving up Route 9 in rush hour traffic.
Yeah, but it also costs an extra $1 to go over there.
Oh, no, $1. Whatever will I do? Weren't you the one who said if something costs less than $5, it's free?
No.
You always talking, if it's below certain amounts of money, you just, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's effectively free.
Not if it's nothing. Not if there's a Valvoline on this side of the river that's $0.
I submit that the gas you use driving up Route 9.
It's not that far up Route 9.
No, it's not that far distance-wise, but the traffic and the lights on Route 9.
There really wasn't traffic and lights today.
Oh,
that's kind of went whoosh.
Usually there are, especially at rush hour. Yeah. I've tried to drive up that road before, back when I used to live in Poughkeepsie.
No, I didn't have a problem.
It took me usually about an hour to drive to Poughkeepsie from where I work going up Route 9.
It took me maybe 5 minutes to get to the Valvoline. From the exit.
Usually that road is just backed up.
Nope. No problems.
Yeah, well, usually. Anyway, you got a news?
Yeah, there's some news is that Digg upgraded today, finally.
All I got to say is whoop-de shit, it looks the same, it acts the same. The only reason I noticed because my RSS broke.
Yep.
And I just deleted it. I didn't bother re-adding it.
Well, what they've done that's good that you might not notice, there's really 2 changes that are, 3 changes. The first change is kind of silly and meaningless, is that if something gets dug a shit ton, then it gets this little, green sort of star near it. So it's this is a crazy story. That's a big deal. Secondly, the big thing is that they've added more sections. Digg used to be just tech news. Now it's tech, science, world and business, videos, entertainment, and gaming. And then there are subcategories as well. And if you log in, you can change your preferences so that you get rid of certain categories. For example, I got rid of the science health category because 99% of that category is just randy bullshit, and I'm tired of looking at it. It's just people saying, "Oh my God, this causes cancer," when it doesn't, or "Oh my God, here's an amazing panacea." No, it's not. And I'm like, get the hell out of my face.
I guess I don't like Digg that much, and I only ever go there if I'm either really idle and I have nothing in the world to do, which isn't really an occurrence anymore, or I'm desperate for news and I couldn't find anything on any of the other sites I go to. I go to Digg as the last resort. I'll find something here. I don't like the comments. I don't like the community, and the stories, 99% of them that are worth reading appear on Fark and Slashdot anyway.
Yeah, Fark, Slashdot, all that stuff appears everywhere eventually. It's just Digg is like the, it goes there first, there's greater quantity.
I would submit that it probably goes to Fark right about the same time it goes to Digg.
Maybe. But I don't read the comments on Digg at all.
So that's the thing. I go to sites for the comments. I go to Slashdot for the comments, and I go to Fark for the comments. And
I just go to get links to the actual story, which I then read.
I usually read the comments first, and then I read the story. Because very
most
often,
of the comments on Digg are becoming more and more Fark-like. Or they're meta comments saying, "Don't dig this, oh my God," stuff like that.
Digg is definitely not becoming Fark-like, because surprisingly, many of the posts on Fark are very informative about the article in question. Not quite so much as Slashdot, but it's sad. It's really weird to me that Fark intellectually definitely seems a step up from Digg.
Well, Digg has the comments are, now that there's moderation, there are comments in there that are informative about the topic. The problem is, there's also a lot of people who don't know what they're talking. It's generally the same problem with Digg comments. The same problem with Digg is that if there's an article, but even though if it's false, if it's popular, it gets dug up. So even if someone says something that's factually incorrect in the Digg comments, it goes up. That's the problem.
Remember when we were at PenguinCon and we met what's his name from Slashdot?
Yep.
And actually, we talked to him for a while because the panel was basically him and us and some quiet nerds who were real shy, and they didn't really talk. So it was basically just us talking to the dude. And at one point, we asked him, how come there isn't a moderation tag for like, this is false, or this is untrue, or this post is bullshit? And his reason was perhaps the least expected reason he could have ever given for that.
It's because he couldn't find a single word for it.
I mean, I said, why don't you just use factually -incorrect? And he balked at it.
Notice how all the moderation things on Slashdot are insightful, interesting, informed. They're all I words, except for troll.
And flame bait.
And underrated and overrated.
Funny.
And funny.
So, other than almost half of them.
All the good ones begin with I. All the ones you want.
Funny's good.
No, not that good.
I go for funny.
I don't go for funny.
But he knows he needs that tag. He's wanted that tag for years. He can't come up with a one word that means that concept. Other than
anything else there are words like false or incorrect or lying or anything like that. But the problem is all those words have other connotations, and the moderation won't be used properly if he uses those words.
I say he should just bit the bullet and said factually -incorrect.
That's what I say. But that's the one thing that's wrong with Digg is that, the chaff gets weeded out for the most part, and the good stuff goes up for the most part, and the duplicates get weeded out almost 100%. But there's stuff that's just wrong, and because the masses are not experts, shit that's false goes up.
And actually, the moderation system makes this worse, even in the comments, because I've noticed whenever there's a terribly stupid Randy on Digg, like, oh, LOL, apple seeds cure cancer, LOL1.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, in articles like that, I've seen that the people on Digg who post and say, this is crap, this is a stupid fake story, those people get dug down because they're raining on the parade. Mm-hmm. On Fark, nothing can get run down. So whenever an article is crap, all the people who say it's crap and are right there in your face, and you realize right away you can just skip the article.
Yep.
You don't get that in Digg.
Nope. But see, on Digg, if I'm smart, so first of all, before I had to deal with all those stories, but I was smart enough to say this is obviously a fake story and it's lying, so I'm going to ignore it. Now, I don't see those stories because I got rid of that subcategory. I don't see it anymore, which is great.
Yeah, but you should have still gone in and railed against him and dug down all the people who said good things.
It's not worth my time. It's really not.
Honestly, I got the same thing going with Slashdot now as much as I love it.
Yeah.
I've had, 5, 10, 15, 20, I've had almost 40 moderator points on Slashdot in the past 3 weeks.
There's the other thing they added to Digg, which is actually, I think, the best part. Is on Digg before you could make friends, but now it's actually useful. You make friends with people, and people make friends with you, and now on the left side of the screen, it will give you your friends' activity in the last 48 hours. It'll give you the number of stories dug by your friends, the number of stories that your friends dug that you also dug, the number of stories your friends dug that aren't yet on the front page, that are upcoming stories, the number of stories your friends commented on, and the number of stories your friends submitted. Then you can click on any one of those things to see which stories your friends dug, which stories your friends and you agreed on, etc., etc.
Huh.
So that way, if you make a network of friends who all use Digg, you can just completely ignore the stories on Digg itself, and it's sort of like a Delicious, but with the popular element more powered up and easier to use.
And with only guys.
That's right.
Yeah, the statistics show that 94% of Digg users are male.
Mm-hmm.
94.
Yep.
Yeah.
I gotta find me some Digg ladies. That 6% is out there.
No, you know what? 94% are males. 6% are males who lie about their gender.
Damn it.
I mean, Digg is really kind of... All right, I won't get into that. This isn't a show about Digg.
Yeah.
All right, so talk about another thing I don't like. LiveJournal.
I don't like LiveJournal either. Well,
now, I like the idea of LiveJournal because LiveJournal was a blog before blogs really took off.
all LiveJournal really is blogging software. It's no different than, say, WordPress or MySpace or...
Well, other than the fact that it's old and it had a large, active, and very inward-looking community.
Yep, it's simply a blog software, but the way it's designed is that all the bloggers are sort of linked into this giant blob called LiveJournal, as opposed to
you realize
Joe's blog.
I learned something interesting. LiveJournal has LiveJournal syndication, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like RSS, but only for in LiveJournal.
Yep.
More people use that than use RSS.
Probably.
Otakon has a LiveJournal syndication and an RSS feed, and I've heard numerous people note that it seems like many more people use the LiveJournal syndication.
Mm-hmm. Why do you just keep stepping on your chair?
What?
You were tapping your foot on your chair and making it squeak while you talked. Like that. Yeah.
Because it doesn't get picked up by the microphone, and I always fiddle around with my feet.
It was annoying because it was making the squeaking noise.
You want to talk about annoying things? Mr. breathes into the microphone constantly. Anyway, LiveJournal, that den of iniquity, that seething pit from which no traveler returns, has one more reason to be hated and despised. Now, a little while ago, they added a thing where there's an ad-supported LiveJournal thing. I don't know all the details, but they ran ads in LiveJournal. It just so happens that some of the ads they ran were put in by evil people. They were filled with malware. If you were running Internet Explorer in Windows, you got spyware.
Just by visiting LiveJournal.
Or using LiveJournal.
Awesome.
It's this specific one seemed to only attack non-United States LiveJournal users in an attempt to get around some of the checking that LiveJournal does. But there's really no technological reason why they couldn't have just attacked LiveJournal users in the US.
Wow. That's kind of weird and crazy.
Yeah, actually, LiveJournal does do a lot of testing on their ads, but they obviously, one, didn't do enough, and two, they must have accepted ads from shady people, because...
Obviously, they're needing some money, because MySpace and others are probably kicking their ass.
Now, Slashshot even got hit by this once a long, long time ago, but in this day and age, there's no excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You can't...
If you're gonna do ads, you do ads from a reputable source like Google or Yahoo or, a real ad company. You don't do those shady ad companies.
Yeah, even AdClick isn't that shady.
Yep.
Good God.
Some of them will make pop-ups or something, but, or pop behinds or poker ads or porn ads. But the spyware ones, that's the shadiest.
Yeah, I'm still not too up on this whole ad concept. I haven't seen an ad on the internet in, 5 years?
There's this big white area at the top of the new Digg. I wonder what goes there.
I don't know. They must have just left that white there, some sort of artistic...
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, all of you out there right now, one, if you don't have Firefox, get Firefox. Then, go get the Firefox ad block extension. then either right-click on every ad you see and make it go away, or run the filter G.
Filter set G updater.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of them requires more effort.
However, one of them prevents you from playing Kingdom of Loathing in its full glory.
Oh, only accidentally. You can fix that.
All right, now, I like birds, and this video is just amazing and hilarious.
And birdie.
Now, there's this flock of starlings in this video, and a lot of starlings.
It's a lot of birds.
Like, they could blot out the sun handily.
A hajillion birds.
And there's this tiny tree.
Hitchcock's the birds.
This tiny little tree. And these birds are circling and circling and circling. And then they all try to get into this tiny tree to the point that it bends over to the point where it's going to break. Then suddenly the tree snaps back and they all fly away.
I think it's they leave the tree and then it snaps back.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what prompts them to leave the tree. But the thing is, they circle, they land on the tree, it bends, it snaps up, they fly away. And they keep doing this over and over and over. They just really want to get into this tree.
I think they want to break the tree.
Honestly, my best guess is that the birds are really enjoying what's going on and they're doing it for fun.
Maybe. Or maybe they're just birds doing their mindless bird shit.
No, there's a lot of smart birds.
Yeah, like owls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
But this is a really interesting video to watch. Because honestly, when I used to live in New Baltimore, there wasn't starlings. We had birds would do this. Our backyard, instead of having, we had a normal fence, but instead of having a privacy fence or anything, we had huge hedges that surrounded the entire backyard. They were very tall. Every evening in the summer, just millions of birds would descend upon them and squawk around and fly around and fight and make a god-awful racket all evening long. It's like that times a million.
I just think it's cool that there's so many little tiny birds that it causes a tree to bend over more than like I could pull it if I wanted.
I just wonder if the birds realized, like if they figured out what was going on in any dimness, because starlings aren't the smartest of birds.
They pretty much just fly. What do they eat? Just like bugs and twigs. And
Now, the best part of this is while we were looking at this, and then we learned something about domoic acid poisoning. And we learned, and Alex actually looked this up over the weekend. I don't remember all the details, but you know Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's based on a true story.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that, but apparently this flock of seabirds was poisoned by this diatom poison that's in algae or something. And they went nuts and they came to shore and just attacked people until they all died.
Whoa.
And it was this crazy thing. If any of you out there want to dig up the article again, post it in the forums. We'll have a good look. But yeah, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds was based on a real-life event.
Did not know that.
Yeah, none of us did. And watch the video because it's really cool.
And watch the movie because it's pretty good.
And actually, the guy's blog I linked to, this is his second video of birds flocking. And someone suggested in his comments, why don't you make a separate blog just for bird flocking videos? It'll be the most popular thing on the internet.
Well, no, there's Funny Animal blog.
Meow meow.
Okay.
Okay.
So, there's always good things to see and laugh at on Japanese television.
Oh my god, this is probably the best of them yet.
So,
I laughed at this more than I laughed at Hard Gay.
there's a guy. It's a crazy TV show. It's a typical crazy Japanese TV show. Crazy. And they have some porta potties. There's going to be comedy coming up with porta potties. You know that.
And this is what I love about non-United States countries, because I noticed in Japan and in Europe and in Brazil, I don't know why I said Brazil specifically, but in all these countries and all these places, I see TV shows that are practical joke shows. And they pull amazing, crazy practical jokes that if you tried to pull that shit in the U.S., you just get sued.
You get sued because the people you did it to would be, they're literally just harming people and ruining people. And
Yeah.
they're like taking advantage. If someone's like afraid of spiders, they'll dump them in a spider pit. It's like you can't do that shit in the U.S.
What of that girl who's afraid of pickles?
That's the worst you can do in the U.S. And I'm surprised she didn't sue.
Because that was obviously fake. But
That's
we don't get into
why.
that.
It's like you can only do that in the U.S. if it's fake. and if it's designed to make you feel sympathetic towards the person. In Japan, if you're afraid of pickles, they'll dump you in a pickle vat, and then the whole country will laugh at you.
So, describe what happens, because I'll do the lead up. Guy walks up and he has to pee.
Well, first they actually see. The reason that you had a better experience watching it is because I fast-forwarded over the beginning part that explained what they were going to do.
In Japanese?
Yes, but they also had pictures because it's a video.
See, I didn't know what was going on. So
I know, that's why it was funnier for you. I did that on purpose.
all I saw was a dude, and he has to pee, and he goes to the porta potty, and he opens it, he goes in, he closes it, and he squats down over the thing.
And then there starts a 10-second countdown.
And once it hits like 5 seconds, these lights start counting down next to him. And it gets to, it's like red, 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 green. And just as the green one turns on, he looks at it. And he has this look like, I wonder what that light is. And then suddenly...
the roof of the porta potty opens up. The sunlight shines in. And a lift brings the toilet, him, the roll of toilet paper on a stand, and anything else in the porta potty straight out to the roof of the porta potty, and he's standing up there squatting on the squat toilet for all to see.
He has no idea what to do. He's the most stunned human being I've ever seen.
And I'm not going to spoil the rest of this video, but it gets better than that.
They do it to a lot of people.
They do it to a lot of people.
In all these different places, but then they go one step further.
they hurt people in the one step further.
Yeah, the one dude falls off. Oh my God.
Just watch this whole video.
This is fantastic.
I recommend also for added humor, try to skip around. That way that you don't see the explanations of what they're about to do before they do it. That way you get the effect of, oh my God, look what just happened, in addition to the, oh my God, they actually did what they said they were just going to do.
All right. So we wanted to do a topic today. Well, yeah. Well, we were going to do the next part 3 of how computers work, which was flip-flops. And neither one of us really wanted to talk in excruciating detail about flip-flops.
Blame that on the summer, the weekend. Come on, it's a 4-day-a-week show. You can't, yell at us for anything.
Yeah, plus we had quite a mentally exhausting weekend. We played a pile of board games.
Good for tomorrow.
Yeah, though I will say, I got to gloat a little bit. At the Moz meeting we went to, where we play the board games, I went undefeated and won every single game we played, all 3 of them.
Yep.
Not just one, but one, other than Attica.
You won 3 games.
Yeah, Attica was close, but I had more points than all of you combined in that stupid Timbuktu game.
God, stupid Timbuktu game.
Yeah, but that was honestly...
If I would have knew what I was doing in the first round, it would have been close.
Yep. But...
I did every other round just fine.
Yeah, but that'll be a story for tomorrow that's quite hilarious.
Yep.
Anyway, in addition to that, it's summer, it's hot as hell. It still hasn't really rained here.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going to do what we always do when we can't come up with a topic to do on a Monday. Tech News Roundup.
You can just call this Twit Nights. All right. But before we do a Tech News Roundup, I wanted to talk about, my new... switch to Ubuntu, and some other things related to that. And it can't give a whole show to that because then Rim is just going to sit there not talking.
The only option we had was that I could talk about my Mac experience, but I want to do a whole show on that a month from now.
Yeah, when it's not so close to the Mac sucks experience show.
Yeah, because I want to talk about the non-podcasting aspect of Mac, which I really like.
Yeah.
I just don't like the podcasting.
Okay, so... on my Ubuntu, one thing I just did the other day, is I set up XGL. Now, if you don't know, X is the X windowing system. This is what makes the graphics and the GUIs and the clicking and the mouse and the windows on Linux.
You don't need to know more than that unless you're a nut.
Yeah, you have Linux, which is just the lowest part of the operating system, and you get a command line on a black screen with white text.
X is old as hell and incredibly difficult to understand.
Yeah, X is the thing that makes the GUIs appear and makes it look like a usable computer.
It's so archaic.
But now there's Xorg, and I'm not going to explain anymore, but it's not as bad as it was, and it's getting better and all the time and whatnot.
Though, nice little hint. If you ever make a new Linux box or anything, that you're using Xorg and not X386.
If you're using Ubuntu, you know that you're using Xorg.
But if you're a Red Hat dude, Well,
I think pretty much everything uses Xorg now. X486.
Honestly, no.
Except for old shit.
Red Hat Enterprise 3 uses X386. The most updated one, because that's what I had to use when I worked at IBM. Unless Red Hat Enterprise 4 uses something else.
I don't know.
It was painful.
Yeah, anyway. So, there's a thing called XGL. It's actually made by Novell, I think. It's kind of weird.
Oh, I don't like Novell.
Yeah, well, Novell's not so bad. But
well, I don't like Novell NetWare.
No, Novell NetWare is bad. The company is a little different. But what it does is it takes X. It does the same thing X does. It's actually an add-on to X. And it makes X go with OpenGL. So your video card is doing all the work of X instead of your CPU. That's good because you have this GPU in your computer. Might as well use it and, save some CPU cycles for other stuff. As a result, there's mad eye candy. Mad eye candy.
I gotta say, Scott's XGL, which I looked at for like a second, is at least as shiny as what my Mac can do.
Hell, it kicks the shit out of that Mac in terms of eye candy.
Except for the front row.
Yeah, the front row.
Which is real pretty. Not so useful, but real pretty.
The front row, I think, is more useful than it is pretty.
We have some trouble with it, though.
We have a little bit of trouble with it, but not much.
Yeah, that might just be
the problem I have with the front row is that it's not responsive enough. Like, I push the button and I have to wait for it to show up.
Yeah.
If it showed up as soon as I push the button, then it would be perfect.
I also want to be able to customize it and add more stuff to it.
That would also be cool, yeah. Maybe we can and we just don't know how.
Yeah, we're not saying you can't. We just haven't tried yet.
Yep. But anyway, we're talking eye candy. Like when you move windows around in XGL, they wobble. And you can modify the amount of wobbling. And if you resize windows, they wobble. And icons kind of animate. And when things fold up, they kind of go whoosh. And when applications close, they fade they kind of go whoosh into the background.
The important thing is the cube.
The cube. So normally on a Linux computer, you have a bunch of desktops, and they're virtual desktops. So you're looking at your screen, and you got like two windows open. You go to virtual desktop number 2. There's no windows on virtual desktop 2. Then you go back to virtual desktop 1. There's your two windows. You go back to virtual desktop 2, empty.
Now, I have often been a person, I usually turn off a lot of eye candy because I like eye candy as long as it doesn't in any way delay what I'm doing. So when I switch desktops, I want it to be just an instantaneous switch.
Mm-hmm.
Except I'd rather have the cube than that because even though it slows me down, it just looks too cool.
So instead of having a, just desktops that change, there's a spinning cube. So when you change desktops, this cube actually spins around, and all the 4 sides of the cube have your 4 desktops on them.
If you have more desktops, it's just a different 3-dimensional figure.
Yeah, I think it is. I haven't actually tried to make more desktops yet, though.
Yeah, we should try that.
I'm going to try that after the show. And on the top and bottom of the cube, you can put a picture, whatever picture you want. And it does all sorts of crazy, wicked, cool shit. Holy crap. And it's not even that hard to make it work in Ubuntu. I'll link to the guide that says how to make it work in Ubuntu. You just add some... Are we going to do that every time we say Ubuntu?
Yeah, that's, I think, a shtick that just kind of came about, and neither one of us said anything about it until just now.
All right.
It's like when Gilbert Gottfried was on Penn Show.
Great. Anyway.
I'm not going to make a Gilbert Gottfried joke.
No.
I think you got anything else to say about that?
It's really cool and really easy to set up, and you should switch to Ubuntu just to use it. Just so you can use XGL.
The funny thing is, it's weird because I'm 50-50 between going to Ubuntu or going with Gentoo on my
I think
computer.
one thing's for certain, that whatever distro you choose, it will end in 2.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to Red Hat.
In fact, it'll end in 2. It'll be either Gentoo or Ubuntu.
So, since Scott did a quick semi-personal tech bit, my quick semi-personal tech bit is that we are, in fact, keeping the Mac. We are not returning it.
Oh, I guess, yeah, tomorrow's the last day, isn't it?
Yeah, I would have to drive to White Plains and return the Mac tomorrow. I'm not doing that. We're keeping it.
We're probably just going to use it as plugged into the TV because it works real nice as that function.
It does. It is also I'm going to sync my iPod up to that because I don't want to deal with Banshee and all that.
Yep.
And it's really nice for the downstairs computer. And it's going to be our podcasting on the road box once we find a program to replace GarageBand or make Boot Camp work with Ubuntu.
Yep. The thing is, is that downstairs we had a giant computer, well, normal-sized computer, and a DVD player and a VCR. This little tiny Mac Mini replaced all of those, and it's quieter and...
Quieter, it's silent. This Mac is quieter than our DVD player was.
And it's a better DVD player than our DVD player. And it's kind of a better living room PC than our living room PC, at least power-wise.
Though I do have some fondness for the DVD player, because our first DVD player was an Apex that I bought for like $30 and then hacked the firmware to make it region-free, even though we only ever put one non-region 1 disc in it ever. And then about 7 months later, it started overheating, and then it died. And it was only through the goodness of our friend Yuko's heart that she came forth and bought us a DVD player.
I think she found one at a tag sale for $20 or something.
Yeah, but still, it was much nicer than the Apex that we had to pull the case off of to make work.
Yeah, and it lasted us until now. And it still works. So if she wants it back, she can have it.
Yeah, otherwise we'll use it as a prize.
No, you win a DVD player.
It works real great unless you have Netflix.
Yeah, it doesn't read scratch DVDs so well.
Yeah. Granted, I don't fault it too badly for that, because some of those Netflixes were real shady.
They were real shady. We'll see if the Mac has trouble.
But yeah, also in general, we're techies, and we're real up on Windows, and we're real up on Linux. It's good to have a house Mac, because that's the thing we really weren't so up on, and as you can tell, we don't know a lot about them, other than the BSD-ness underneath.
Yep, but I'm learning about them real quick.
Yep,
And I'm learning that there's a lot of things you can't do without shitty-ass shareware.
Yeah.
Where be the open source Mac shit?
I got a big talk about the developer culture around OS X, and how it's 10 years behind the times.
Yeah, I mean, there were 2 nice emulators for NES and SNES games on the Mac. I don't have any illegal ROMs, though, but...
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah, no illegal ROMs here.
Okay.
Okay. And in order to get joysticks to work with these emulators, I needed this shareware program called Emulator Enhancer. What the fuck?
Now, one.
ZSNES, goddamn.
Windows, the evil empire's operating system. Since Windows 3.1.1, if you plug a joystick in, there's a widget that just makes the joystick work in any program.
Yep.
2.
That's a DirectX thing, but
yeah.
Go on.
But 2, MS-DOS. Every program that needed a joystick could just use the joystick on its own. 3, shareware has not existed in viable form in almost a decade.
Yep.
In fact, it's been over a decade since shareware was a viable method of distributing software. Shareware is dead. There's no such thing as shareware anymore. Why are Mac developers making shareware?
Everything is either closed source freeware or open sourceware.
Now,
or proprietary, don't use, or pirateware.
To any of you punk kids, shareware, because there was a time when there was freeware, shareware, payware, there are all these words. Shareware was a very specific class of software.
Postcardware.
Yep. Where you would make a program and either cripple it after a certain amount of time, cripple it from the start, or it would just be the full version, but it would nag you. And it would nag you to send $10 to Rim, who wrote this program, and then he'll send you the code to unlock it.
And all unlocking it would do is make it stop nagging you. I can't tell you how many years people used WinZip without ever paying for it. But every time you had to unzip a file, you would have to click, yes, I agree that you can keep nagging me. And it would tell you how many times it nagged you.
Now,
it'd be like 1,000 times you've unzipped something.
The open source software movement made shareware obsolete, because now if people really like things, they just donate money. I mean, Scott and I both donated money to OpenSSH.
Oh, yeah. I use SSH every goddamn day.
They deserve my money.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should do our tech news roundup.
Yes.
All right. Let's start with WinFS.
Okay.
Now, WinFS has
was a dumb idea.
Well, it from an overview, it was a good idea. Let's make an awesome metadata file system kind of thing for Windows. Let's make it awesome. Let's make it the be-all, end-all of file systems.
Riser 4 is to win.
Yeah,
WinFS
Riser 4
is to lose. But
now, Microsoft said, we're going to make WinFS. Microsoft said that about Windows, like 98?
No, they said that.
2000?
They said it about Vista.
Well, they said even before. They kept saying they were going to make,
Well, they had the idea, I think, brewing, but for Vista, they said, we're going to make WinFS. And then they said, all right, we're going to make it, but not in Vista.
Oh, you know what I was confused with? There's NTFS, and then there was the next iteration of NTFS.
No, that's not.
No, that was slightly different. But originally, they didn't call it WinFS. But Microsoft said when they were going to change NTFS and add all these things to it. And then one by one, those features kind of disappeared. And eventually,
I don't remember that.
I'll show you an article later about it because I remember I was pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, WinFS was going to be this awesome file system that Microsoft was touting as this is going to be the big thing. This is going to be what you will buy Vista for.
Pretty much the idea of WinFS is that you would have this database of meta information that would make it real easy to find your documents, even though you wouldn't have to know where stuff was stored on your drive anymore. So gone would be the days of, where did I put that file? /documents and settings /desktop /
Even though to people who know how to use computers, those days have never existed.
That's correct.
But anyway.
But to all the idiots, those days are pretty much constant. So the idea of this is people wouldn't have to browse anymore. You would just type in, it would be Google Desktop, but built into the OS.
Which means, no performance hit or anything.
Well, there would be a performance hit because it's a big, heavy thing you're using. But, it wouldn't be like a tacked-on deal.
Anyway,
yeah,
they kept reducing the scope of it.
And now it's completely dead.
It just kind of dwindled away to nothing. And now it might kind of exist a little in a completely different form that is useless and basically a different thing.
It's like Microsoft said they were going to do something, and they tried and tried and tried, and they couldn't cut it, so they pushed it. They couldn't cut it, so they pushed it back, and then now they can't cut it at all. Just completely useless and crap.
So we'll see what Vista has to offer.
See, I'm really of the camp that if you want to do something like this, it should be, actually the way Mac does it is they have that little Sherlock tool, or a tool on Linux like slocate, where if you want a database, if you want meta information on your files, you don't put that in the file system. The file system should just be a way to arrange data on your hard drive so that the operating system understands it. That's what the file system is. It should be as efficient and as fast as possible.
Because if you put all that metadata in a file system, that's great. Then if you take the file off of that computer onto a computer with a different file system, it's all gone.
Well, no, you could say, yeah, but a different file system, yeah, it's all gone.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely a fan of putting metadata in files or putting metadata in databases. If I want metadata on my music files, I should use iTunes or Banshee or MMDB or whatever it's called, and you make a database of all that has links to all your files and then has meta information on all your files in it.
Well, you know what, Microsoft, that's what you're gonna have to do now because there's no more WinFS.
That's right.
All right, what next?
That's a good question.
All right, fine. Bill Gates.
Okay. Bill Gates is the richest guy in the world.
Now, who is the second richest guy in the world?
I think it's Warren Buffett. I don't know what he does, though, even though I know his name.
Well, he's given most of his money to Bill Gates.
See, the thing is Bill Gates has a lot of money. And, not being a complete evil fuck, he wants to give most of it away. And he decided that curing diseases and getting rid of things like malaria is the best way he can spend his money. And
honestly, I wouldn't attribute much evil to him at all. It's mostly Balmer.
Yeah. But the point is that's hard to argue with that one. It's sort of like, anything else that you could pick to spend money to fight against, someone might disagree with you. If you tried to spend money to fight against the evil communist regimes, then the commies would disagree with you. If you
all right, food.
What do you mean?
Invest in not letting people starve to death. No one's going to disagree with that.
There are people, because then you're fucking up, because then A, you're fucking up economic things, B, there are people who are argue with your Frankenfood. And
all right, then counterexample for yours. There are people who are very much against the curing of diseases.
But those are so few.
I submit that
none of them are large governments. They're all Christian scientists.
There are large governments that are very much opposed to research into AIDS because AIDS is God's punishment unto man.
Yeah, well, he's not actually doing AIDS.
Yeah.
At least not right away. I don't know. I haven't seen anything that specifically said he was doing AIDS. for most of what I've seen, he's doing the old world diseases that are still hanging around.
Oh, so, malaria, typhus,
Yeah, mostly the
polio.
African diseases is what he seems to be concentrating on. Of course, AIDS is a big one there, too.
Now, I wonder if any of this money is going to go toward the reinstatement of DDT spraying.
I don't know, but the point is that, Bill Gates in a couple of years is going to quit Microsoft almost completely and spend all his time giving away his money. And what he said is that, he could just give away his money pretty easily, but he would feel bad if he gave the money to someone who used it poorly, like if he gave his money to someone who then used it to buy mansions and yachts, then he would be upset. So he set up the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Melinda's his wife, to give the money away responsibly. That way, he can spend, he doesn't give money away to fucktards by accident. And Warren Buffett is another incredibly rich guy who also wants to give away his money responsibly, but it's too hard for him to do that on his own, so he's just going to give most of his money to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that way that it's given away responsibly.
Yep. I got to say, I very much like this whole thing because it really harkens back to the old robber barons and the super rich people all through the history, and how they'd always do great philanthropic things to, let's make Rockefeller Center or something like that.
Yep.
They
actually, some other podcasts mentioned those guys all in the same breath,
Yeah, I'd like to see people who have that sort of wealth at least trying to do good with it.
Yeah, I always said that, if I had, let's see, if I had like a house, a Ferrari, all the computers I needed, and enough money to live the rest of my life with interest and all that good stuff, that every other penny I got, I would give away either to family, friends, or charity. Because, there's only so much money that I need. More money, I've already got everything, If I've got a home theater, a Ferrari, and a mansion, what else? I don't need more. I'll make a boat, but that's it. That's the end. Any more than that, I could buy all that with a few $1 million.
You know what
If
I'd
I had
buy?
$1 billion, I wouldn't know what the fuck to do with it.
You know what you buy?
What?
A personal ball washer.
That's right.
What did you buy? Another car?
No, just one. The Ferrari. That's all you need. One car. Ferrari. The end. But, I might buy things like an F1 team. But even that is only $200 million. So what the fuck am I going to do with $1 billion? I'll buy a business.
You know what I would do? I'd go around the world looking for people who seem as cool as the front row crew
and then get them all to
is.
live together in a giant place.
Not only that,
even that is only $100 million at most if you do it crazily.
I could live the life of hedonism bot until I died of a ripe old age.
You couldn't spend $1 billion if you were hedonism bot.
I bet I could spend $1 billion.
Hedonism bot could not spend $1 billion on hedonism. I guarantee it.
I think you forget.
Unless you got $1 billion $1 whores.
one $10 hooker bot?
$10 10 cent whore. 10 billion 10 cent whores.
If it weren't so late, I'd pull up that Bender quote.
I know, right? Anyway. But yeah, I like, you got to realize that if you're giving away a little bit of money, it's real easy to give it away. You just toss it in United Way bin, give it to your favorite local charity. Even a church will probably do something okay with it most of the time, except for a Catholic church. They'll just buy gold with it. But
no, because they sell it to the gnomes of Zurich.
Oh, that's right. But even the Salvation Army will probably do something good with it. Give it
not the Salvation Army.
Well, they might.
No.
They will buy one Bible to give to, someone instead of giving them food, but they'll also buy a food.
No, they buy like 100 Bibles for every one food. If you'd said anything but the Salvation Army, I would have let it slide. The Salvation Army is a terrible organization.
Well, if you think about it, if you give them $1 and they buy 10 Bibles for every one food, it's like giving them 10 cents.
Yeah, but
you're not getting your money's worth, but at least you're getting something.
No, because I have other reasons to dislike them.
Yeah, but there are worse places to give it, like
the Revive Hitler Fund.
Exactly.
That's always a bad place.
The Revive Hitler Fund is bad. What are those guys from that South Park episode?
Oh,
NAMBLA. Don't give it to NAMBLA.
Yeah,
that's a bad one. Yeah, there are worse places you could give it, but there are also many better places you can give it.
Yeah. All right, I got a quick aside news, and we're going to talk about this much more on Wednesday, but I figured since I was interrupted right now about this, and we have a streak of people talking to us while we're doing the show, so we get semi-live updates here. Jim Vowles of Otakon would like to remind all of you who are thinking of attending Otakon that you should pre-register now so you get the $10 discount that ends on the 4th of July.
Ah.
Yeah, so if you're going to Otakon, get your pre-registration in. It'll save you $10.
We should probably just say that on Wednesday.
Yeah, but I figured I'd say it right now.
Okay.
It'll explain why Scott talked a whole bunch of time and I didn't make fun of him or anything for a couple minutes.
Yeah, so if you have a shit ton of money to give away, it's not as easy as just dumping it in a charity bin somewhere. You've got to make sure you don't give it to a fucktard, and at least Bill Gates is smart enough to realize that.
Yeah.
And so is Warren Buffett, who is even cooler in my eyes because he realized it and he realized he didn't want to have to deal with it. So he just let someone else do all the work, and now he gets all the credit.
All right. We got another quickie here. Belgium, the government of Belgium, the country from which a good portion of my blood is from originally.
Like little tiny thing that's in between France and Germany in the north that Hitler ran through. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, the country that has the French half and the Flemish half, and the Flemish half don't like the French half, but they all speak English, so it doesn't matter. And anyway, I like Belgium.
Yeah, the guys who fucked up Africa.
Yeah, I mean, if you rank the colonial powers in terms of how horrible they were to the native people, the French were probably the best in terms of treating them. And then, under them, it's like the British, and the Spanish were pretty much, most people think the Spanish are at the bottom, because they were, other than the Portuguese. The Portuguese and the Spanish were just horrible, horrible conquistador-type people. But they got nothing on the Belgians. You read up on some of the things Belgium did.
To their colony people.
Yeah. Anyway, Belgium is going open source.
Well, they're not going open source. It's for any of their document formats used in government, they're going to use an open document format.
Yeah, well,
specifically the open document format.
It's a big step. I think in general it's a big step toward, open source.
I think a lot of non-tech people don't really understand this problem. Here's the problem. Let's say the government decides, let's say you have a government of a country, and that government uses Microsoft Word documents for all government computer documents. Now, government things are supposed to be public. Things like laws, things like forms to fill out. All these things are supposed to be public. So anyone's supposed to be able to get them for free because it's your government. Your taxes paid for it already. It's free for you. If it's in Microsoft Word document format, in order for you to do anything with it, you need Microsoft Word, which costs money. So this is like if a government decides to use Microsoft Word, they're basically saying, if you want access to your government, you have to pay this company money. I mean, imagine if the government highways said only Ford cars can drive here. That's what it's like if the government uses Microsoft Word documents.
Yep.
It's the same as if they made highways where only Ford cars could drive.
In fact, I ran into this problem directly a little while ago. My friend Katsu, I wanted to give his resume to my company, and my company would only accept it in the Microsoft Doc format. None of us have Microsoft Office, so he made an open office, which wasn't fully compatible. I had to open it in Word at work and twiddle with it to make it look right.
Yeah, I only have Word on my work computer, and the only times I really use it are for work shit because they use stupid Office, and also if I need to convert something to a format for an idiot who doesn't use another open format. Now, with an open format like OpenDocument format or some XML which is an XML format, but any other open format like text or anything.
Open generally means XML.
Yes.
XML does not necessarily mean open.
No. Well, open doesn't always mean XML.
Yeah, but these days it seems to.
Concerning document formats,
yeah,
they seem to be using XML mostly. But that means that, sure, OpenOffice is the program that is mostly associated with the open document format. But because it's an open format, which means everyone in the world knows how these files work, anyone can write a program that can read these files. I mean, I don't know if Microsoft Office reads them, but I think Abbey Word reads them, and you can just read it with just about all kinds of different free softwares. So,
in fact, because it's so documented, you could just write something to read them.
Yep. So if the government uses open document format, then you can drive any car you want on the road. You could drive an expensive car, like Microsoft Office, maybe with a plug-in. I don't know. I don't even know if that works because I don't use Microsoft Office. Or you can use OpenOffice, which is free. You can use Abbey Word, which is free. You can use all sorts of things. and they're all free.
Now, one of the reasons Microsoft is so against this, and it's something I've run into a lot just in the work I've done, is that the main reason, the primary reasons companies can't just move all of their menial computer users to a lockdown Linux is that, one, they need to interface with other companies. And the primary ways small and medium-sized companies interface with other small and medium-sized companies is through Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Access.
They have Microsoft Exchange servers with Microsoft Outlook, and they email each other Microsoft documents. And because they've been doing this so long, they have all these existing documents that they still need access to. And if you start a new company, even if you decided to use OpenOffice and OpenDocument formats, the other companies don't. So you need Office to communicate with them. So you would really need to get all the companies to switch. But if the government switched, then everyone would need OpenOffice or something to interact with the government, which every company has to do also. If people did that, then they might be able to phase over to an open document format, convert their Word documents over time, and eventually give Microsoft the boot, because Office is really their biggest moneymaker still right now, and open document format could kick its ass, especially if more governments adopt it and mandate it, which is what they should do, being good open governments and not evil tyrannical governments. So I hope that people who didn't understand this issue now have a clear understanding of why any good, open, democratic government and not a communist dictatorship needs to use open document formats to not be tyrannical.
All right, and on that note, I think that should wrap up our Tech News Roundup. We went much longer than we expected to, which is great, because we were worried it would be a short episode.
Hooray!
Tomorrow is gaming day, which should be...
Yes, the rest of this week will be awesome. We had, last Thursday, our little nothing, and then Sunday we did a crap little episode, and today, it was okay. But starting tomorrow, Geeknights is going to be super awesome again. And also, if you haven't already, this Thursday is going to be an episode of Ask Rim and Scott Anything. So if you haven't asked us anything and you want to, either send an email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com or join our forum and visit the thread about asking us anything and ask any question you want. And on Thursday, we will answer all the questions unless there's too many, in which case we will answer as many questions as we can.
Yep, except for one, which we might possibly answer on someone else's podcast.
That is true.
Yes.
But we will let you know where to hear us answer all these questions that we do answer. So ask away. We need more questions. Email us, ask.
And that was Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for our opening theme.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com. If you like our podcasts, you'll love our forums. Make sure you visit them. You can send your email feedback to geeknights@gmail.com. And if you want, you can leave us a voicemail at 206-333-1537.
Geek Nights airs every weeknight, Monday through Thursday.
Geeknights is recorded with absolutely no studio and no audience. But unlike those other talk shows, it's actually recorded at night.